Hello, my name is Anuska and welcome to my channel. So on this week's video, I wanted to talk about the 4 signs that your voice might be struggling or suffering. Because one of the things I hear quite frequently, and I used to buy into this myself too, is that it's meant to be hard work. When we speak, it's meant to be hard work to use our voice. And if it's easy and it's effortless, then there's got to be something wrong. So I want to talk a little bit more about this just to help you kind of navigate and understand what might be happening with your voice. So when I work with clients and we start working on voice production and we look at vocal technique and voice physiology and how are they using their voice, how are they producing sound, when we actually start to get the voice in alignment with the 3 subsystems of voice production, they'll often be amazed at how easy their voice feels. And they'll almost be a little bit suspicious, like there's got to be something wrong. Surely I'm meant to be doing more. It can't be this easy. Because for a lot of people that come to see me, they've often been living with frequent sore throats, croakiness, raspiness, strain, tension, or just a lot of vocal fatigue. And they just thought that that was normal. And so this is a newsflash for you, maybe, that it's not meant to feel difficult or hard work. Your voice should feel easy and effortless. And if it's not, then there's something that's not quite working as it should. There's some sort of functional issue there. It could be an over-recruitment of muscle, or it could be an under-recruitment of muscle. And often what we do is we tend to over-recruit the wrong muscles for voice production and under-recruit the correct muscles for voice production. So when we actually learn and understand how to voice and how to produce sound, the voice just works. The voice just comes out and we're like, oh, is it really meant to be that easy? So I'm here to tell you it is. So if we have a healthy larynx and we have a healthy vocal technique, there is no reason why you can't speak all day effortlessly and powerfully. But I do want to say too that that doesn't mean you don't take vocal breaks and vocal naps, that you don't take care of your voice and drink plenty of water and get plenty of rest. You still have to take care of your voice because you are human at the end of the day, but the voice will fundamentally function extremely well throughout the day as long as you take care of it. If you think about, it's very similar to going to the gym. Because again, we're working muscle, whether we're working in the gym and we're working our body or we're working our voice. And so I often use this analogy because it helps people to understand a little bit more that by definition, muscles will fatigue, but is the fatigue kind of strain and like an overexertion, or is it just a fatigue of just being used? So there's nothing wrong with a small amount of fatigue from being used. And there is a difference, and I'm sure I certainly have done this. We've gone too far and we've felt a difference when we've overly exerted muscles in our body. So just to start to pay attention. So we are working muscle. There will be an element of fatigue, but what's the kind of level of fatigue? And is there pain attached to it, etc.? So think about that when you're thinking about your voice. So often when vocal problems are brewing, it can often be very tricky to actually identify that. So unlike, for example, if we get toothache because we've got a bad tooth, or we get stomachache because we've eaten something that our body doesn't like, or we have a headache because we haven't drunk enough water, for example, the body will give us a clear signal in terms of a pain. And then we think, okay, I need to do this or I need to do that. Now with the voice, it can be a little trickier because hoarseness is less specific. Sometimes the sound will change, but the voice will feel normal. And sometimes a voice might feel uncomfortable, but the sound will be normal. So it can be tricky. It's not going to be a one size fits all. And that's why I go on and on and on about voice awareness, because only you know your voice, only you know what is normal for your voice, because you're the one in your body experiencing your voice. But often we're very disconnected to our voice. We just don't even think about it. So that's why in my online course, the first module is voice awareness, because nothing can change unless you're aware of what you're dealing with. So we may get messages in different ways. So it could be a sound message. It could be croakiness, huskiness, raspiness that we're noticing. Or it could be through, for example, persistent sore throat, or always clearing our throat, always coughing, excessive mucus, those types of things. Or it could even be we start to find that our jaw aches. Or I notice this too often when people use a lot of strain and they push and they really put a lot of muscular effort into their voice. Often the veins in the neck will stick out and their neck is overly engaged. So it's not even necessarily to do with the throat. It could be around the jaw and the neck as well, or even the shoulders. I mean, all of this is connected. So we have to look at the whole body and how it's contributing to the voice. But as I said, much of this will also depend on your relationship with your voice. If you have zero awareness of your voice, it's going to be harder for you to notice subtle changes to the sound quality or to physically how your voice feels. So do you know, for example, what your normal voice feels and sounds like? And do you think you would be able to perceive even slight shifts in voice quality, in physical effort, in terms of voicing? That they're really good questions to ask yourself. And if you think you couldn't, then just start to bring awareness to your voice, start to listen to your voice, start to really pay attention to your voice, and start to build a relationship with it, because then you're going to pick stuff up a lot quicker and be able to address it a lot quicker. So hoarseness in the voice is really an overuse, a misuse or injury to the vibrating edges of the vocal folds. And so these vocal folds then can become bruised, they can become swollen, or they can become scarred. Now, for optimal, healthy, powerful voice production, we want the vocal folds to cleanly and fully adduct, so come together in this wave-like motion. Obviously, this happens very, very fast, and it doesn't look like my hands, but just to demonstrate. And if there is any swelling or bruising or scarring on the lining of the vocal folds, they're not going to be able to cleanly adduct. And so there's going to be more air escaping. And that's where you start to hear vocal roughness. So the huskiness, the croakiness, the raspiness. So it's a really, really good indicator that something's not quite right. And we may put it down to, oh, I just had a long day of speaking, or I've got hay fever at the moment, or I've got some other allergy. I mean, I suffer from hay fever, so full sympathy for you is all I can say. Or it could be things like you've been traveling a lot and your voice is dehydrated, or even, you're sleep deprived and you're just very tired. So how do you know if it's actually something that you need to take more seriously? Or is it something that you can just sort of chalk up to, okay, I just had just this one-off day of intense speaking, and that's why my voice is feeling a bit croaky. So the first sign is that your voice requires a lot of effort and it's tiring to speak. And you kind of always feel like you're on the back foot. Your voice actually never feels effortless. So we might have the odd day where our voice feels a bit tired, but then much like going to the gym, you come home from the gym, your body's tired, you might have a bath, you go to bed, the next day you feel fine. It's the same with our voice. So we might have had a long day of speaking, we might have slightly overexerted ourselves, we drink lots of water, we have a shower, we go to bed, and we wake up the next day and our voice is fine. We know it's something more serious when it never really bounces back. There's always this kind of persistent fatigue or this persistent effortfulness in the voice. So that's the first one. The next one is you find it hard to vary your volume, particularly if you're trying to project your voice. You feel like you have to really work hard, really push your voice, engage your neck, really put so much effort into your voice to project and get more volume in your voice, or even actually just varying the volume just in general, because that requires quite a lot of skill. So do you have the capability to do that, or is that actually quite a challenge? So that can be another sign. Number 3 is your throat feels uncomfortable. You could have a persistent sore throat. It may not be painful, but you've always got a bit of a sore throat. You could have a tickly throat. You could always be clearing your throat, coughing, or you could have excessive mucus, which is often a sign that there's some kind of inflammation, there's something not quite right with the voice. So just start to pay attention to that. And you could have more than one of these as well. And then number 4 is you frequently lose your voice, or your voice is so tired by the end of the day that you don't even want to speak to anyone. And I hear this quite a lot from clients actually when they first start working with me, that they'll be working all day, they get home in the evening, and their voice is so tired that they can't speak to anyone. I've also worked with particularly lecturers and teachers that work in semesters. By the end of the semester, they pretty much like clockwork lose their voice. So again, there's a sign there that things aren't sort of functioning as well as they could. So this isn't about beating yourself up. This is about bringing awareness to something so that you can change it, because it doesn't have to be this way. You can absolutely find a version of your voice that is effortless, powerful, and expressive. So I hope this has been really insightful. If you have any questions, comments, please post below. Please also like, share, subscribe. And if you also have any topics you'd like me to talk about in the future, also please post them below. But thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate everyone that watches my videos. It certainly helps to get them out there, the more people that like, comment and share. So thank you so much, and I'll see you on my next video.